1st of March, the 2026 budget was still not in place. So we are trying to still see that how we are going to still ask the government on what is the way forward, and the delay will affect the planning implementations. We are trying to bring most of this effect into places to see we put it, and telling the citizen that, look, if we did not ask this question, we will not be able to get the full details of this. We were able to know that with the number of 2026 budgets in place of the as of 31st of March, the government continued planning and implementations there was no accountability, there was no transparency in all the budget aspects. So not until last week now, they now say that this is the Nigerian budget that we have now. Surprisingly, they just give Nigeria a surprise package by increasing that budget.
The issue is, you know the problem now, and which is the same conversation I had with you, honestly, the last time you were here. You know what it should be. Yes. Questions are being raised, answers are not being given yet to the questions that are being asked, because of course you are asking in place, or you're asking on behalf of the masses as well, because they deserve to have information on the budget and the spending and these allocations. Now, what mechanisms are in place to ensure accountability for this increased spending? Because it's looking like we're going to send them our concerns. We're going to wait for them to respond to us. If they respond to us, oh, fine and good enough. If they don't, well, we're just going to keep asking the questions regardless. So we need to know what mechanisms. We need to know what mechanisms you have in place, because they have given you their response, right? But you didn't act on the response. So why are you finding it out in the first place if you are not going to take decisive steps to ensuring that these questions that are being raised are properly handled and the answers are given and implementations are being tracked by budgets?
You see, the issue is not us. We actually knows the problem. We know how to tackle most of these things, but the fact remains that citizens are paying less attention in it, and the system that the Nigerian system is designed in a way as it is like a stone, that if we do not use an hammer to break it, we will not be able to see what is inside that stone. So we'll keep on asking and sending reminder. I remember I told you that we write an FOI. Okay. So when I left the studio as of that same week, we gave them the constitutional time. We still send them a reminder that we have not yet gotten a response from you. What is the delay? And Nigerians wants to know. That was when the federal government now responded to us that this is it, this is how it is. So it is people like you and us now that we engage these people very well, rigorously, without even looking backward and saying this, that will make them to respond.
Garba.
And also this is...
Just to be clear, I think what we're asking is, what do you do with that information?
When you get it.
Once you've gotten it, what do you do with that information? Yeah.
We'll make it public to the citizens to know. If you go to our X handle at the budget X handle, you will see it. If you go to tracker handle, you will see most of this information. As I'm talking to you, okay. I just spoke to you as 4 days ago. In fact, every day we keep on publishing this information in our website.
Okay. Now also, we've seen in the past budgets with big numbers but limited impact. Of course, you have been part of budget for some time. In fact, you are also the tracking manager for budget. You know, so from your tracking work at budget, what percentage of Nigeria's capital budgets are typically implemented, and what are the key reasons for why projects fail or even are stalled, being delayed?
So the percentage of the budget implementation as of 2025 and 2024. Of course, I just told you that I just speak about as of 31st of March, the implementations of 2024 budget and 2025 budget cycles were supposed to end, and it has ended, but without any plan for 2026. It shows that there is little percent of these budget implementations in place. Now, we have not started 2026, but the 2025 and 2024 has ended with few percentage that most of these indigenous contractors are even complaining that, yes, that the federal government did not pay them our fields reveal that we have abandoned projects, we have uncompleted projects, we have projects that have been funded but they have not been carried out. So we sent an FR to these agencies. This is the discovery we made. So amount was being paid. Like most of this now, so amount was being paid into your agency. We see that this the project location, we visited the project location. We did not see any implementation of that project in that location. What is the problem? We begin to ask most of these questions to get far before we send our. Of course, we don't have the constitutional right to execute these people. We send it to EFCC and ICPC, where I said it last time, for them to execute them or refund the money to the federal government accounts.
Okay. Now, again, in the past, budgets has actually been known for flagging some of the duplications when it comes to some of this budget that we've seen in our country, Nigeria. Now, with this increase as well, what are some of the red flags that Nigerians should be looking out for?
Lack of implementation of the projects in our communities, and if you look at the 2024-2025, majority of these projects, of these budget lines are being allocated to street light. So Nigerians should pay more attention to this street light. What is the impact or the benefit of this street light that the federal government keep on mentioning or budgeting funds for it in our community? How does it affect us directly? That is a concern. That is where Nigerians should focus, because our research and our tracking reveal that majority of funds now have been channeled to this. Now, this in the nearest picture, or in now, we are trying to work on how we are going to see the project that have climate change fund, like the construction of borehole, or construction of drainage, construction of dams and bridges, the project that affects the community directly. We have a project that will flag off in Taraba State that they were constructing one big road project. The contractor said that the money was being given, the money that was given was just 10%. So that is why he abandoned the project. We called the attention of the federal government, and the federal government went to the site and begin. I think it was from Federal Ministry of Works, and begin most of this project. So the citizens should pay more attention to this line, street lights specifically, because we see that every time they keep on budgeting funds for street light, and yet nothing has been done on it.
Okay. Of course, I was having a conversation with Abdullahi Garba, project tracking officer at Budget, talking about the new increase in the 2026 budget. Right now, we're going to break, and we'll come back. We'll continue further on the conversation. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid Television, and of course, I will be talking to the project tracking officer at Budget, Abdullahi Garba. Once again, Abdullahi, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Garba, for joining us on the conversation. Can you hear us? Can you unmute your mic? All right. We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
All right. Okay. Now, moving on with the conversation, let's talk about the inflation as well that Nigerians are experiencing. With the cost of living still on the high side, what should average Nigerians, realistically expect from this budget in 2026?
You see, this is a very tricky and a very wonderful question. Nigerians, we ask what Nigerians should expect in the 2026 budget. What else are we going to expect? What we have seen at the past have not made any real changes of what the previous budgetary aspect has shown to Nigerians. So, for my own personal opinion, Nigerians should not expect any changes, but we hope that things is going to get better and change, because you cannot budget a funds for the nations and huge amount of money being allocated to places and agency, ministry, and yet we keep on experiencing the same or setback of the same thing that happened. So we are. I want to believe that Nigeria will be hopeful that things is going to change with the new budgetary allocation that we have,
Is that
and we hope that
realistic?
the federal government is going to look into.
Is that realistic, or we're
We
talking
are
based on
hopeful.
hope?
We are hopeful.
Okay.
From my own personal opinion, I'm very hopeful. But with the figure that we have now, it is very possible to see that things changed.
Okay.
But just we are going to use 2026 as a case study. We are very hopeful that the conversation around budget is not going to be intense like this again. But coming to 2025, we saw that it was only 30% that was being implemented or done. Even as of the middle of the 2025, they have started nothing. So it was 2024 that was still running. Contracting, we are saying no payment. The agencies, we are saying federal government have not given any fund. The federal government will now say there is no any funding for these people to work. So who are you going to say? Who are the citizens going to say this is the issue or this is how to tackle this? So in my own view, these figures, this huge amount of figure we are seeing in the federal government budget is very, very possible and realistically to see that things change for good. But the way the system is designed, it is designed to see that they put more hardship on the Nigerians, and see that Nigerians, because Nigerians don't ask any questions.
That's where I'm about to head. That's where I'm supposed to head to now, as regards Nigerians not asking enough questions, because you have made remarks about. It is as though a lot of Nigerians don't understand that it is also our civic responsibility to be able to question the budget, you know, to ask about the implementation of this budget. So we have already established the fact that we're not doing enough when it comes to transparency or demanding transparency in how public funds are being used. However, now, how do you think how do you think Nigerians can go about demanding this accountability? Because it is one thing for us to know that, oh, we can demand accountability. It's another thing to know how to demand accountability. It's our civic responsibility. The government owes us that much information. What is the budget about? What is it going to be implemented doing? How do you plan on implementing this budget? So if we don't know, you cannot accuse us of not asking enough questions. So now, seeing your office as a budget, a tracking officer, you might want to also let us know how citizens can go about demanding accountability, especially when it comes to budgeting.
Now, let me respond to two things in this aspect. Nigerian have or has about over 100 or more than that of civic organizations, NGOs or CSOs that are saying that they are fighting or they are working in an anti-corruption or accountability or in transparency aspect. And most of these people, are they really asking or asking the federal government the question, are you saying these people don't really know that this is what they're supposed to do, to take this message to people who they say they are going to represent? Now, if you look at our X-handle or maybe our board tracker and budget, you will see that we have over 3,000 or maybe 13,000 followers. But when you post something that requires engagement, you see that 5-10 people are engaging. It shows that Nigerians are actually seeing it, but they are not interested in asking these questions.
Okay.
Again, Nigerian can, yes.
Why do you think they are not interested? Because you said they are not interested. Why do you think Nigerians are not interested? Maybe if we start from the basics, we'll be able to find out, you know, how we can go about ensuring. Because this is almost the same thing we're talking about when it comes to voter apathy. Nigerians are not coming out to vote. Nigerians do not want to vote. Why are Nigerians not coming out to vote? If you are able to answer that bit of the question, then you might just be able to find solutions as to how to solve the problem of apathy. It's the same thing with budgeting. Nigerians are not interested in knowing what the numbers are, how these figures are being translated into our daily lives. So there must be an answer to the question. If we have that answer, we just might know how to encourage more people to come out to ask questions about the budget.
Well, with my experience and engagement with the people at the grassroots, Most of these people believe that the systems is rigged, in the sense that even if they come out today, there will not be any positive change. And we keep on telling them, no, that is not the issue. Because if we are showing them such a story of what we have been doing on the field.
Hello, Abdullahi. I think we're having a network fluctuating there. We do hope that it gets resolved and he joins us back on the conversation to give even further answers to this.
Anyways, it's very important that these questions are being answered, like we're asking over here. There must be a reason as to why Nigerians are not demanding what they should. It's either we don't understand that we have the right to know, because I was going through like a certain report about local governments this morning, and going online, checking for the budget of local government. It is only about 10 of these local governments that actually publish their budgets. They have allocations from, of course, this national budget.
Right.
There are allocations that go to the local government, right? It's also an arm of the government. And no information whatsoever as to what these monies are being used to do. No breakdown of the budget. I'm telling you, only 10 states out of 36 have anything you can find. And out of those 10 states, it's only about maybe 3-4 that has like a proper budget, each local government, and a proper breakdown from, we have about 774 local governments.
Yeah.
It's only a few of them that have breakdown of what this amount of money is being used. The other 30, nothing was traceable. 30 of this local government, of these states, local, nothing was traceable about 30 of them.
And
you see,
and that's what I keep talking about. The fact I was having a conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend, and we were talking about the 3 tiers of government. How we always talk about, we drag the center more, which is the federal government, and then also sometimes the state government, but we always turn a blind eye to the local government. And we said to ourselves, let's take a pause and even get down to the local government areas. This is the grassroots. The truth is,
they connect with us more. They can implement policies that affect us more.
But we don't get to actually look into what they do in the local government sector, because sometimes we think that they do not have the resources to do that. But that is a big time lie. They have the resources to do that. Yes, we understand that they are fighting for a full-time autonomy, but yet money is being allocated to them. First of all, there's money allocated to them. Now, the money that's been allocated, how accountable are you for this money? When it comes to healthcare, when it comes to the provision of education in the local government area. Again, take Rivers State, for instance, the Ahoda incident. That was a school in a local government. When a teacher actually called that the dilapidated state of that school, it was the local government chairman that was allegedly seen to have assaulted and harassed that
because he knows that it is hitting a nerve now.
And that was supposed to be that responsibility in the local government. So what do they really do? Yes, we're calling for true federalism. If that happens, I believe that is going to help Nigerians a lot. But even in this time and era, there are still certain things that the local government do not do. There are certain things that the state government do not do. And again, we still have a large chunk of the blame. We still get down to the federal government. Look at the budget we're discussing, for instance. Nigeria's revenue largely depends on oil. Now, the global market, when it comes to oil, there's a big time challenge there. The Strait of Hormuz having issues. How much is a barrel of oil right now? It's over $100, which on the global scene, it is affecting us. How, again, for asking these questions, how, again, can the federal government actually ensure that the revenue generation is not just dependent on oil? They've been talking about the non-oil sector, but how effective has that been in the past year? These are questions that are still begging for answers. We really hope that the government can give us all of these answers as much as possible.
Yes, because if we don't hold the local government accountable, and when we talk about, the federal government, our leaders are callous, they don't care about us. These people were the ones who were members of the House of Repo in local government. They were first citizens. They started from the local government. They climbed and climbed and climbed, and then they got up. So if we're having more callous leaders at the top, it means that the people who started from the foundation, they were not checked at the local government level, because we literally almost turn a blind eye to the local government. Meanwhile, they also have responsibilities. The federal government cannot go to every community to make sure that there's light and water. That's why we have ministers that are supposed to do that. That's why we have local government chairmen that are supposed to do that. They are assigned to take care of things from the grassroots level. But if they don't do it, and if and I've said it here many times, and of course I've mostly relayed it to you, all the blame cannot always go to the federal government.
Not at all.
I refrain from taking it to the local government all the time. The part of the blame that they take is in they're not able to hold the local government accountable. But if your hands are not clean, how can you hold another person accountable for not properly managing the fund? So imagine no trace of what the monies are being used for. They're just allocated to the local government. That is why a governor can just stand up and say he wants to build a high grade cemetery. That is the most unreasonable thing I have heard in a very long time. Unreasonable, emotionally unintelligent thing I have heard. People are being ravaged by the cities, or different states or different parts of the country are being ravaged by insecurity. The best thing you think as a governor you can do is to build high-grade cemeteries. Maybe you sleep there because it looks like you are creating it for the people, the masses, because all the projects are for the grassroots, for the masses. So how does building a cemetery affect the lives of the people at the grassroots level, the citizens that you claim that you're taking care of? It doesn't make any sense. Because they are not scrutinized, that's why anything is being pushed to the forefront as a project by the local government. In Sokoto State, we saw a certain chairman, distribute money within his state. Is it Sokoto or Gombe, one of those states? They were just coming to collect money. That is why local government chairmen can give wheelbarrows to their members of their constituencies as empowerment. They are not checked.
Not at all.
Nobody asks the questions. But we as citizens also need to understand the implication or how costly it is for us to not ask the right questions. If we keep quiet and we don't ask questions about these processes, no one will. Also, if we keep keeping quiet, or the public silence is going to enable it's going to weaken accountability. And by that I mean, if nobody is asking you, you do it the first time, you get away with it. You do it the second time, you get away with it. Nobody is asking you any questions whatsoever. We weaken the accountability system because our culture of silence emboldens the people that steal from us. And lastly, if we don't demand this transparency or this accountability, we might never experience any sort of change in our political system.
Very true. Year after year, funds have been released, but impact seems to be less visible. There has been speculations, allegations of budget padding. In fact, budget has also pointed Nigerians to that very fact in the past years. There has been issues about spending efficiency, as it is. There have been issues with accountability when it comes to budgeting, and of course the public spending in our great nation Nigeria. Ministries, departments, agencies, all the tiers of government has got to be held accountable. Poverty is on the right side. In fact, according to data from the World Bank, a large percentage of Nigerians are still living below the poverty line. And all of these challenges we keep experiencing on daily basis. We've seen all of these challenges moving from point A to point B. Again, year after year, funds are released. Year after year, impact is minimal. We do hope that the federal government can actually pay attention to the needs of Nigerians. Now, we have insecurity problem. That's one problem, and it's a massive problem ravaging Nigeria. There's also a problem of hunger, poverty in our country, Nigeria. All of these are intertwined. Whilst we're solving this, let us, as much as possible, also solve the other, so that Nigerians as well can live a meaningful life.
All right, before we go, I think it's very important that we know that we can track the budget via budget office publications. You look for budget office publications. Either you go to the website of budget or the budget office to find out about these things. Also, you can engage civil society organizations. Ask questions. It never kills anybody to know more and even more and even more. So you can engage civil society organizations by asking them questions as to the areas of confusion when it comes to budget. You can use media platforms. You can use a public discourse. Demand accountability from elected leaders.
Exactly.
We don't know the power that we have when it comes to demanding accountability. It is as though we don't understand it. So we just refrain from asking these questions, because at the end of the day, budgets are funded by citizens, either directly or indirectly. So accountability is not optional. It is your right.
It is.
You fund it, so you have the right to ask the questions. So it's important that we know. So we don't just come and have these conversations, and then at the end of the day, citizens are not still aware about how they can go about demanding accountability from people that they have elected to be in office. Any informed citizenry is the strongest form of oversight. We need to be informed. When you are informed, you are equipped with the necessary information to act. But if you are not informed, you can be brainwashed. So most of the cases of people being brainwashed we have are people that actually do not have the information. So information is power at the end of the day.
It is. But that being said, once again, thanks to Abdul Garba, the project tracking officer at Budget. Due to network issues, we could not have been conclude on the conversation. But this is all we're going to be taking on the conversation this morning. Do remember that you can follow us on our social media pages across all platforms at Rapid TV. And you can get to rewatch all our episodes on the YouTube platform, which is at Official Rapid TV. And wherever you are in the world, you can watch us live using our website, www.arabianradiotv.com. My name is Victor. Okay.
My name is Martha Alu. See you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.